Hi, Craig. Welcome back to the Free Speech Cage. How are you today?
Hey Max, I am doing very well. It's always great to be here exercising my free speech right.
That's what the Free Speech Cage is for.
Thanks.
So, I think today you're going to talk about, because it's definitely confusing to me. I've never understood that the military is supposed to be used on its own people whatsoever. But Trump is using the Insurrection Act to use the military. I don't even quite know what he's trying to do. But since you served in the Marines and obviously, and you've consulted with the Army or obviously read a lot about it. You've brought your books here. I thought maybe you could explain to me or explain to anybody who doesn't quite understand, like what are the Marines really for, and why are they being misused? Because I think they're being misused. I actually think everybody sort of gets an idea that they're being completely misused.
Thanks, Max. Well, right now, Trump hasn't invoked the Insurrection Act, and I'll let other people talk about that. We'll probably discuss it in the future. But what he has said is if he does invoke the Insurrection Act, he will be able to deploy the military, the Army, the Navy, Space Command, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, in which I served, as you pointed out, as he wishes, with no oversight by the courts, no oversight by Congress, nothing about anyone being able to say, no, that's not a good idea, let's not do it. So, as you said, what is the military as a force to be used against American citizens on American soil? And it is a horrible tool for that sort of thing.
Right. So, yeah, just tell us like what is the Marines?
So the Marine Corps was born roughly 250 years ago. We're coming up on our 250th birthday on November 10th, which is less than 2 weeks away. And it is a fighting force. It's a force that from day one was designed to go fight, kill, shoot, maim enemy combatants in other parts of the world. Initially, it was British soldiers and sailors during the Revolutionary War, and then it was the what we called pirates in the Mediterranean, and then with the Mexican War. So the Marines have always been really at the forefront of American combat operations, but against other nations and against other nations' militaries, not against civilians, and certainly not in America.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's really just mind blowing to me. I mean, so what do these books say
So,
about?
so these books, and this I've got a pretty extensive library. I just brought a handful of them over, but you can go online and you can see what the latest version of the Marine Corps Essential Subject book is. It's a Navy task force something or other. These books all talk about what Marines need to do to be properly trained, what Marine Corps units need to do to be properly trained, and what they talk about is how to clean an M16, how to bayonet someone, how to call in fire support. What's fire support, Max?
911.
No, no. When the military talks about fire support, which these books all talk about being trained to do, when the military talks about fire support, they're talking about calling in 500-pound bombs from a plane circling overhead or calling in a drone strike on some building that they suspect harbors hostile people, all right? You put Marines in Chicago, Marines who have been trained to call in 500-pound bombs. That's the skill that they have. That's the stuff they know how to do, to shoot mortars. You bring them into Chicago, what the hell are they going to do with that fire support, Max?
Right. So I don't understand. I mean, again, the world is upside down. So the Republicans, from my understanding, are more the libertarian type party. The more of you know. Each individual can pursue life, liberty, happiness. And so the Republican Party has always had a semi-anti-government take, right? I mean, my life, it's all about we have to reduce government, we have to reduce government. So I would think they'd be the first to stand up and say to the executive branch, no, no, we are not going to infringe on the U.S. citizens' right to do whatever they want to do in their state. I just don't get that.
I don't get it either, Max. Now, you got to point out, Trump never served a day in his life in the military, so I don't know that he understands what the military is, what its traditions have been, certainly doesn't understand military training. He just knows he's got this thing. And the Republican Congress and Republicans in general aren't going to stand up to him, as you pointed out, and say, no, that's wrong. So he thinks he can use it. So he brings in this tool that is designed to blow up building, that's designed to storm the shore, to storm Lake Michigan, to take over Chicago, to bomb a YMCA building. I mean, that's not what America is abroad if we're on our best days, and at home ever. If we've got problems in Chicago, you know what we also have in Chicago and in Illinois?
State police.
We've got the state police. We got the fire department. We got the city police. We've got the Department of Public Health. We've got a whole boatload of things. We do not need the Marines who are trained to bayonet people, Marines who are trained to throw hand grenades, Marines who are trained to call in 500-pound bombs and trained to do it very well, who have done it honorably as best as they can for centuries. We don't need to send those kids, those young kids and the people in charge of them into Chicago. God, no.
Right. Even the guy that is in charge of ICE or the Border Patrol, I forget his name, but even he is having trouble restraining his troops from throwing tear gas canisters. So I don't believe that the top is telling these guys to throw these things. They're just on, they're just, like you say, they're not trained. They're just there. They get scared and they throw this thing, and they're supposed to be disciplined enough not to do it.
I'm saying something different, and this is a crucial difference, Max. These Marines are trained. They are trained to close with and kill enemy combatants.
Well, exactly.
They're trained for that. They are not trained to patiently sit in front of a bunch of dancing frogs in Portland. They're not trained for that, and it changes your mindset. You start feeling scared. You start feeling confused. You start thinking, what the hell's going on? And it's easy to make a bad decision when you're scared and confused. And if your training has, for centuries, told you in situations like that, you start shooting your M16 or your M4 or whatever it might be, it is really difficult to overcome that training and that sort of cultural ethos. Horrible, horrible tool to use in situations like that.
Right, but that's sort of what I'm saying. Like, it's, if you are trained to deal with crowds and to basically deal with the public, right? So if you're ICE or you're whatever these people are that work within the country, if they're trained to deal with U.S. citizens while going after illegal immigrants or whatever they're doing, right? The Marines are trained to go storm a beach and kill. That's my understanding. So you're already taking a training. You can't fix that because it is completely
It's what we're trained to do, Max. We are trained to do that stuff. Combat, fire and maneuver, close combat support, all that stuff. That's what we are trained to do. That's what our systems have been designed to do for centuries. You just don't send them to a 5-week training course to say, okay, we're going to teach you how to deal with dancing frogs. And fortunately, nothing happened horribly in California, for example, during the Rodney King riots. I mean, it's not unknown for the military and the Marines to be deployed in narrowly prescribed circumstances. Trump's taken it to a whole new dangerous, horrible level, and he's using the wrong tool, and he's putting not just the American public, but the specific members of the military that he wants to deploy at a horrible risk of violence, of emotional trauma, of living with stuff that they wish they had never done or seen. He doesn't know the first thing about it because, of course, he's a draft dodger. But the people in charge of operations should know this stuff. The Republican Congress should know this stuff. They should grow a pair of fucking balls and tell Trump, no, this is not what these fine young men and women are to be used for.
Right, but they're not doing it. It's just very scary. I don't see an off-ramp at the moment.
Well, the off-ramp is for Republicans to understand that they are fucking wrong, to grow a spine, to bring Congress back into session. There are all sorts of different off-ramps, but right now, Trump somehow, this doddering old idiot, has got these Republicans terrified of him. But the Marines aren't supposed to be the casualty of a feckless Congress and an incompetent president. So the off-ramp is that Army National Guard captain who says, hey, we can't follow illegal orders. You can't. It doesn't matter who gives them. You cannot follow an illegal order in the military. You're not sanctioned to do that, nor are you protected.
Right, but that's a difficult ask of a 21-year-old.
It's an impossible ask of a 21-year-old. So where are your captains? Where are your majors? Where are your sergeant majors? The people should fucking know better.
All right, Craig. Well, I think that's it for. Well, I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about this again from the other angles of the deeper marine culture and how this is so alien to it later, right?
Yes, I'm afraid we're going to have a lot to talk about, Max. And honestly, if you got a moment, you just read through the stack of books and realize the tactics may have changed, the equipment may have changed, but that warrior ethos, certainly in the Marine Corps, hasn't changed one bit. We're fighters, and you need to be careful what position you put fighters in, because that's what we know how to do.
Yes, and there's so much to talk about, and I look forward to next time.
Thanks, Max.